Hello, I'm Stacy with the IIA. I'm here today with Carolyn to discuss performing project health checks. Hello, Carolyn.
Hi, Stacy.
Now, can you tell us a little bit more about maybe some of the successes that you have seen over the years?
I think the successes are really helping to raise to the management level, the executive team, that the project has risk. You don't want to employ optimists as your project managers, but project managers tend to be highly optimistic. So I think getting that second, more tactfully skeptical point of view from internal audit, where people really have to produce the measurements that they're reporting to the executive team, I think that's the success that gets, if the team needs more resources, and that's why a project is beginning to suffer and have increased risk of failure, then internal audit's kind of high platform that we have to speak to the executive team can help the team get the resources they need.
But it's a way to work with the project manager to help them get the resources they need and to help the project manager achieve their goals versus maybe reporting that the project manager is not going to get accomplished what they're supposed to be getting.
You want to be known for helping the project achieve success, but as you're doing this reporting, it can cause tension. That was another one of the inconvenient truths in the MIT study that said an aggressive audit function can't prevent project management reporting inaccuracies, and in fact it can make it worse. So if you don't establish up front when the battle is not heated that this is how we're going to work together, it's collaborative, we're here to help. If you don't get that kind of groundwork set, then you will have a contentious audit, and that does happen.
Right, I can imagine.
Yes.
I can imagine.
Yes.
You discussed recently in a blog about Agile Governance. Can you explain a little bit more of what that means?
Sure. I became fascinated with the concept of agile development in software. So this is where instead of doing a traditional system development lifecycle approach where it's called waterfall, where you go from kind of planning to business requirements, system requirements, and it's very orderly and in a particular order. Agile development is more iterative. It's about what stories does the user want to see. So if I'm building a system for accounts payable, one of my stories could be I want to see how many debits are building up inside of a credit balance, or that's probably a boring story, but the idea is it's iterative, and you develop your software in modules. And what we were finding is when you were having financially relevant, so SOX relevant applications developed under this iterative story method, you didn't always get the right stories around controls built in. So the idea of Agile is, it's a good idea because in theory you're going to get your software delivered to the end user much quicker. But the problem is if you do that in a way that's not properly governed, you're going to miss some steps. And so then I started thinking about how do we interact with an Agile project from an internal audit perspective, because auditors want to see, we like waterfall. We want to see that you did all the steps, the appropriate people signed off, that you've thought it through, because that's just a more comfortable structure for us. So how do we get comfortable with Agile was one thought. The second thought is internal audit itself needs to get more Agile, right? So we have these, again, we like to document our methodologies. Our quality assurance reviews require that you have a documented methodology that you can prove that you follow. So auditors like methodology, but without the nimble approach, you could be kind of you're bogged down in the reporting phase, or you're bogged down in the planning and communication phase, so you do fewer audits. So how do we get more nimble as an audit function, kind of cutting out what doesn't make sense and iterating over what does make sense? So how do you get that more quick to market type perspective in a function that's meant to be very repeatable and documented and methodical? So that's the thought on Agile. How do we figure out where those constraints are, where that non-value added work is done, and still have our professional standards?
It sounds like between project health checks and Agile Governance, you're really positioning internal audit to really be partners in these large governance projects.
That is absolutely the intention, and the art is trying to get your stakeholders to buy into that vision.
Absolutely. Well, Carolyn, thank you so much. I hope our audience has also learned a lot more about that. So thank you.